everyone, this is greyshotproductions, and today I'm going to be going over my thoughts on Company of Heroes 3. This is the pre-alpha that's been out for a week now. It, again, has about little under 2 weeks left, so hey, if you still want to play it, check out the link below, download it for yourself, submit your survey on your opinion of the matter, and again, if you feel my opinion is somehow biased because I'm part of the coh-dev team, that's fair, and that's why I say put your own opinion, send to Relic, and give them your thoughts on the matter, because again, you can play it for free right now. So overall, do I think what I've played in the campaign, and at this point I've played it over multiple times in all of its sense, and also trying to speed run it, which I'll try again probably later today when the time the video releases on Wednesday. But point of the matter is, I think it's actually pretty positive. I think that the idea of having turn-based go into RTS battles is a really smart play and allows more dynamic campaign and just overall more replayability. The general sense is each company you can customize with different skills, which allows for different abilities, different bonuses for maybe resources or extra veterancy or something along those lines, which translates into those companies bringing their own special flavor into a battle. And those battles range from just general skirmishes on a predefined maps against AIs with randomizing objectives. Sometimes you're defending a skirmish map, sometimes you're attacking it, sometimes if you're disorganized you have less VPs or more VPs. Generally speaking, this type of game mode is meant to have like between 5 to maybe 15-minute matches, which I think is a good length of time for a match that you might be playing multiple times in a skirmish or just in like these random battles across the campaign map. And again, you don't get into those when fighting detachments, but I still think detachments are enough of a threat depending on what you bring to the table. Having an AT gun or an MG just pop up in the middle of nowhere and open fire on your company, weakening it so the enemy company can attack it, or maybe air support can weaken it and then the company attacks it. Again, it keeps things interesting and make sure that you're not always in the same perfect situation that you may want to be unless you're really equipped for the matter, such as having a medic squad to heal you, a sapper squad to deal with deal with the enemy mines and other tank traps that can lay down. So again, I think that way it adds more flavor to it. And again, the fact that you can call in airstrikes, call in naval bombardment, maybe possibly put special units in your companies to allow for special modifiers. That, again, adds more replayability. So when you do get into the more streamlined missions or side objectives, that even though they're side objectives and you would think that they are kind of is standard, the fact that they are randomized across the map and can appear in multiple areas, even if they're the same thing, also adds more variety. So this is already a step above what you saw in Company of Heroes 2, the Ardennes Assault expansion. So I thoroughly enjoy that aspect to it. The fact that you can approach it multiple different ways is really refreshing, because I feel like that is a bit of an issue with a lot of RTS battles. Like, for example, I like Iron Harvest's campaign, but each of those missions are roughly 30 minutes to an hour, and it's very hard to just keep playing that. Having something to break up that RTS battle and jump to something else so your brain kind of resets and then gets back to it, I think is a really nice way to just have a nice balance. And I know that's weird saying that for Company of Heroes, but in the campaign sense, the fact that they do have missions that have a nice variety, whether you're trying to kill someone or trying to defend an airfield or attack the airfield or neutralize a specific position on a map. Again, I feel like it adds enough variety to it that I could easily see someone replaying this campaign multiple times. Whereas, I'll be honest, in Company of Heroes 1 and 2, I didn't really mess with the campaigns all that much once I completed them. Here, there's a general reason why, because again, there might be companies I didn't try out, there might be strategies I haven't tried. Like, again, I tried a way to speed run the campaign where instead of taking 6 hours, which I believe is what it took me the first time, I was able to complete it in an hour and a half. And I think honestly I could go faster than that. So the fact that you can do this and keep doing it in so many different ways, I think is a huge plus and puts it way above other games. And it's kind of like the same way I feel for like XCOM 2 or something along those lines, or I guess Gears Tactics. I know those are tactics games, but still kind of has that niche of you can customize your men to certain extents and put and how you proceed in battles is different. So it just adds more replayability. And again, I feel like I play a lot of those games repeatedly, where I feel like Company of Heroes in the past I didn't. So that addition just really fleshes things out and makes it a lot better. There are still things that don't work with that campaign map. There are units that won't attack you. I don't know if that's difficulty wise. Once you take territory, they kind of flee. They don't really attack and retake key positions. And again, I feel like overall, some of the added difficulty may just be diminished because of the difficulty level, or however the AI is currently operating. I feel like once it gets closer to release, the AI will of course be better, but that's my note right now, is it seems like when you're in this grand campaign map, the AI is more of a static nuisance rather than an opposing threat that you can feel it coming back to attack you. Detachments were more aggressive than companies when I was playing through the campaign map. But again, I do like the modifiers. Like, for example, at the Monte Casino, there could be a negative modification for bombing it in the actual campaign, where in this, again, you get some negative comments, but of course the pre-alpha ends by the time you take it. So it'll be curious to see if possibly your decisions will lead to negative modifiers throughout the campaign. Again, the closest thing I think of is my brother's playing Mass Effect right now, and again, you make decisions in that can change the course of that game. So it would be awesome to see in this RTS that decisions that you make in battle or in the campaign map would do that. And I feel like they're hinting at it, but again, if they are, I do like that aspect. Again, more variety, more replayability, big plus on my end. Now, that's with the campaign map. How is it for the individual battles in the RTS? Well, honestly, it feels like a mixture of coh-1 and coh-2. I feel like the style reminds me more of coh-1, just up, better resolutions and set in Italy and better textures. Overall, I think the dynamic gameplay is still pretty good. Like, it's still solid as 2. The different units, I do like how there's a good variety of units that isn't necessarily in coh-2. The British and the Americans that are the confirmed faction so far. Again, each of their units are pretty interesting, and at the very least, they are different from their counterparts in previous games, which I like. And I like the fact that is the case because I don't want the standard vehicles you saw in coh-1 and coh-2. Again, add some variety, add some new things, add some experimental weapons or something along those lines. That I know that sounds weird to say, but making sure that it is like you're testing out stuff that maybe isn't as common, or maybe people don't know enough as well. Like, everyone knows what a Sherman is, but going with some previous variations or some other stuff, I think is a good positive change, or a good dynamic, you could say. And again, that's where I think that possibly throwing in other factions, like for example, the in the British faction, you can have an Indian company. So the fact that you have a different group, even though in the same faction, could allow for some better and more unique gameplay from that. So again, there's so many possibilities here I think they can possibly do. And I feel like even if you have the British, the fact you can evolve that and change that, I think is a really, really cool aspect that that looks like they'll be adding in. The other thing I would say is the fact that, again, all your abilities on the right-hand side with the and also the general UI is pretty good. I still have to get used to it, and maybe it can make a modification here or there. I still prefer the units on the top right, though I do like how you can customize it, and the fact that you can change your key bindings and stuff like that, or at least it looks like they promised that. Plus, they're adding more stuff like side armor and stuff like that, so the individual gameplay should have more flexibility and more depth to it, which already in coh-2 it has some serious depth. Again, just for comparison's sake, you compare Company of Heroes gameplay to Iron Harvest, and there's a reason why Iron Harvest just hasn't been able to grasp that same general audience. It's, unfortunately, just the gameplay is not as deep as it is Company of Heroes. And the good news is in Company of Heroes 3, it seems like that is going to be continuing. Again, the same thing can also be said about the missions. So far, I really enjoy all the missions, all the different maps, all that stuff, the verticality, the different types of buildings, and just overall the layout of these maps make them very unique and interesting, and I enjoy them. Overall, again, if we go into presentation, I like the style of it. Again, it looks more coh-1, but still keeping a little bit of coh-2 in it. My general thing, though, is I know a lot of people are going to say, and I put up a poll on my YouTube channel because I was going to make a video a little bit sooner, but then I wanted to test out more of the campaign map, general of the graphics, and overall, I feel like it's in a good state. Sure, I wish there were more options, but it's a pre-alpha, because I know a lot of people had some brightness issues, and that is understandable. I know some games have, or even movies have some issues with brightness depending on monitors. So the fact that people are having that issue, I could recognize. What I don't feel is an honest critique is the fact when I put out the thing, the number one one thing that people said that I just cannot disagree with more is the fact that they say the game looks too cartoony, but also it's not taking the general battles in the campaign, the story seriously because it looks too cartoony. And I just sit there and I'm like, okay, so we've had what, Invincible and Castlevania come out with cartoony looks and they're more mature than most live action shows I've seen this year. Beside that point, I'm assuming what they're pointing out is the talking heads that you get in that kind of direct you during the campaign missions. And what I'll say about that is, simply put, like during like coh-2, you had those stylized portraits. They're not realistic in the sense that like you're not going to take a person in real life, put that on, and like that's a one-for-one recreation. It's 2D. I feel like people just have a harder time with 3D. Maybe that could be the jump that people have that hard time with, and then having someone talking to you in the game, especially when they're again in a pre-alpha state, so they're not as detailed as what they probably will be when the game officially releases, kind of makes people like, whoa, what's going on? But again, it's a stylized look. Overall, I quite enjoy that look, and I enjoy the color. That's the one thing also people said the color was an issue. It's Italy. I love the green landscapes. It's better than Russia during a winter storm. I like snow, but again, enough maps where you see that it kind of gets a little stale. And it looks like here with all the buildings, all the hills, all the different varieties that you're going to see, it just adds more flavor and adds more just... It looks nice. That's the thing I'll say. The game looks nice, and I'm glad it looks like how it is and not something from 2006 on to like what, 2013-esque, where you had a lot of games of browns and dark greens and grays, and it was just not a lot of color to it. That's why I'm also glad that movies and stuff have gone away. We're seeing more color, more variety, more stuff like that, but we're still keeping the serious subject matter. John Wick is a serious movie, but that deals with lots of violence, stuff like that, and over-the-top action, but also has tons of color, which really makes it stand out. So again, I feel like if you're worried about more like a cartoony, aka more color, and that kind of look is going to make the game somehow lower, I don't see that from what I've played, and I don't think that. Again, being more colorful doesn't affect gameplay, and unless you literally can't see it. But overall, also I like the music. The intro music I do thoroughly enjoy. I think it's a good I think it's a good beat. It's different than coh-2, of course, but I feel like, again, that is a Soviet orchestra. This one's an American and like British allied theming kind of to it, and I think it works. I think it works very well, and I overall enjoy it. And it seems like overall the community is enjoying the music too, by the amount of people I see uploading the music and the view counts on those and the overall positive score. So I'm glad people are enjoying the music of that. But yeah, no, it's a good pre-alpha. I think this is a great step in the right direction. It shows that the game has lots of depth already, has a good overall flow and like different mechanics going with each other that doesn't break the game, at least from what I can see. Sure, there are ways to, let's say, navigate around the RTS battles, but again, I don't know if that's necessarily because of the fact that I'm playing a certain way, or more features won't be added once the game officially releases that will kind of change that. Overall, I think this is a very positive step and a very positive first look at Company of Heroes 3. The pre-alpha does a really good job, and again, you can play yourself and put in your thoughts. And again, right now Relic is doing this whole coh-dev thing and taking the community's word and trying to work with it with the game. And I think that's a really positive step that kind of keeps it away from repeating what other games have done. Now again, I think the game should come out once it's ready, first and foremost. But if the game comes out when it's ready and also has everything the community wants in it, I think that's a huge step in the right direction, because that brings in the core base. That the core base then of course reaches out and brings in other people into the community that are interested and helps them out and make sure there's a like a ladder that they can train up to be with that community. So again, I feel like this is a really good opening step, and showing as well that the campaign is not something you're going to just play once. This is a campaign that you're going to play multiple times. And again, it seems like it's going to be something that you will enjoy while doing while in multiple different ways. So I'm very happy about that, very thankful for that. But hey, what are your thoughts on the matter? Please leave it down below. And again, if I missed something or didn't go into something, let me know. But overall, I think that the different companies, the skills you get with them, the how the different factions work, the units you get with them, the different abilities and stuff you get with each of these companies, just especially on the different maps and the modifiers and all this stuff, just makes for a very interesting game. And I'm very curious to see what it's going to be once it's finally released. Though at least with this slice that we have right now, I'm very happy with what I've tested so far. But again, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And it's been greyshot17. I'll see all of you next time. Hey guys, before you go, let me give a special shout out to Aphyria, Folkvard, Joey G240, Balam, Ace, Tony B, Ion, Little Koosh, Samuel McKinney, Seth Coopers, and Jacob Oswald. Thank you guys so much for your awesome support and generosity. If you guys want additional content, check out the links above. Otherwise, I'll see all of you next time.